Good afternoon, everybody. This was kind of, sorry we had to move the location, but there's some stuff going on and the paint wasn't dry or something like that.
We're repainting our meeting room, so it'll be bright and shiny and new the next time y'all are in there.
And so this was the quick fix, and I was almost late because I had such a long commute. But it's good to have you here. Glad to see everybody back after our little bit of break. Great to have all the guests here too. That's really important because in the long run, what we hope happens is this carries on for the next 12 months. We have more and more of those people because eventually we get into these meetings in a box and we go out to different constituent groups and hopefully they get interested and they start coming to meetings like this. And you know, if we're doing this right, I think at the end it'd be like we got to have a bigger room because we got so many people that want to be engaged. So we really do appreciate y'all being here, and it's great to have SFA students here. That's cool. That's kind of an important thing to this community. I don't know if y'all have noticed. So it's good to have you here. When GW gets mad in a minute and walks out, he is not mad. He has another commitment, so he'll have to step out eventually. Anybody else that slams their notebook down and walks out, they're mad. And so just thought I'd give you that heads up. You had a homework assignment, and I told you we're going to visit it every time, but you've had time to visit some other towns in this country or others. And anybody see anything neat in the last month or so that they went to a town and it made you, because remember we're keeping a running list. Anything that you've seen that you want us to think about that might be something to have in our community? Anybody got anything? I got one, but I want somebody else to go first. Lay it on us.
I was in Fredericksburg. Excellent chocolate shop there. It was wonderful. And interestingly enough, in one of the public Facebook comments, somebody commented that having a candy shop would be nice. And I know ours closed down during COVID. They retired and all of that stuff, which I told them.
Add it to the list.
Would probably open something up.
Nothing wrong with the candy shop. Parky, did you have one?
Yeah, and I went to a couple different towns, all in central Texas. I can't remember which one it was. But they were having a big event near the river, but the entrance was downtown. And so a lot like we were talking about with blocking off downtown and then nobody could get through. And they had a state highway, just like us, going right through downtown. Well, they shifted everything over one street. So everything was blocked off, but on the off street, they just made it very clear that the traffic was gonna go through. And so yes, there were lots of people, and they had to wait to cross the road, but downtown wasn't shut down. They were able to park elsewhere and they had access to the river and the natural area like we have. And I thought, okay, that's,
cool.
You know, that's implementing it.
Anybody else got one? GW?
Yeah, let me add, stay in Central Texas. I'm not sure if I always pronounce this town correctly, but little Central town, Central Texas, beautiful little community out there about today. And I was so impressed with, you know, it's almost a one street, little downtown. But the accessibility where families get out, there was a lot of young families, they have something special for families. And there were just families that had to go walking. Just sidewalks were just nice. Lights were, it looked like more of a theme from lighting. It's really a nice area. Rural town, I was just impressed with the ability to accessibility at the wall.
That's cool.
You know, move here there and get to all the shops.
Well, remember, the more we travel, just try to make note of those things so we can get that exhausted list.
Something I saw was in Silver City, New Mexico, and there was this really neat little archway. It said downtown, like everything.
Makes me so happy.
I said,
I think those gateway things are cool. Mario?
One aha moment I had, pardon my allergies here, is an Olympic-sized swimming pool with resort amenities right behind the university building where they're going to demolish that Martin Center. What a huge draw for the community.
Yeah.
Accessible to all, kind of like Martin Springs in Austin. You know, Buda has something like that. I happen to live there for a while. Talk about round-the-clock traffic. Talk about accessible to everyone. No country club fees.
Yeah.
No private pools. Just open to everybody.
And in a neat sector too, you know, because our map, we want to kind of touch some different points, so that's cool. I went to, oh, you got one?
Do you know, well, I always like Granbury. Have you been to
I
Granbury?
have been there.
All the stores are open until 9 o'clock.
I'm like Johnny Cash.
What do they plan to put where Martin building is and when they demolish it? Do you know?
I do not.
See, oh, that's what I want to ask.
One piece at a time, apparently.
Well, they've got to look at first. You've been watching it at all your favorites.
I went, and I've been a million times, but now you go to these other towns and you're starting to look at them differently, trying to things. And I went to a meeting in Fort Worth and went downtown to the, went to the stockyard. And I've done that a gazillion times before, but I thought it happened to have one of those weird afternoon, 10-minute, rainstorms that just hit us and then went away. And I thought, that entire covered area where the shops in it and all, it started raining and nobody changed patterns. Everybody just kept motoring along because basically you had essentially downtown streets and the railroad track that were covered even if there was an event. And I thought, I'm going to put that on the list. I don't know if that works for us anywhere, but that'd be pretty neat if you had. And that space is huge. It's 3 city blocks probably if you take the cross streets and all. And I thought, it could be storming and this would still be going on. So cool. Well, keep that homework assignment. Every meeting we'll start that way just to try to get those all down, and then we'll work them into our plan. We got a lot to do here. And poor Jessica, she gets to do most of it because it's above my pay grade. I can't even come up with a Wi-Fi password, much less the rest of this stuff. So I think we're going to talk a little bit about the engagement personas, where you went out and put the little yellow tabs, or like me, where you had a hard time putting the yellow tabs, so you made a list instead, which works, by the way.
Are you gonna email me that?
Yeah, I'm going to
Okay.
email you the list.
That works too.
So I'll turn it over to Jessica for a minute.
All right, and I can understand why you have a hard time with the Wi-Fi in this building. The password is crazy. It's very low. So what we're gonna do, Beth is gonna put this up on the screen. Of course, I know it's gonna be a little harder to see, but what we're gonna do is kind of walk through each different category, because what DTJ asked us to do was have these different categories like public schools, lower income renters, and then we're supposed to come up with a group or someone that functions in these spaces, so that way when they're doing this outreach, if they're looking for someone that does a ton of public schools or they have a lot of renters that they deal with, they can then send a survey out to them, they can make contact with them and see if they can bring them into a focus group. So essentially we're making like a huge contact list for them. Y'all did a great job going in and populating a lot of this. A few of these things, you could tell people are just kind of starting off with like, they need to talk to Family Crisis Center, which is good, but then if somebody has a more specific contact for, you need to talk to Susie over there and here's her phone number, email address, that would help us out, because we can go and find some of these things, but if y'all have contacts we don't have, it's very helpful. So we're gonna kind of walk through this, and this is just kind of crowdsourcing information. So right here for lower income and renters, we have listed Precious Cycle, Family Crisis Center, Anna Middlebrook, Allison Hancock, and Anna Middlebrook, I have contacts for, so I can add those. Does anybody have a good contact at the Family Crisis Center?
I have one for Precious Cycle.
Ed
I might have some.
It probably has one.
Family crisis.
Yeah, and some of this, if y'all have someone like you might have a contact, if you don't have it on you today, that's fine. If you wanna shoot it to me in an email, I can go in and put some of this stuff in if it's someone you're gonna have to dig for. I just wanted to make sure y'all knew who we were looking at, so that way if you have to dig through your Rolodex or your iPhone or anything like that, we can go from there. And Brandon, you said you're the person for Precious Cycle? Okay, who is it?
Tree, and I'll have to look up her last
Is
name.
it,
Pulse?
Pulse.
Yeah, I think, 936-305-5330.
Perfect. And did anybody add this person?
That was me.
Okay, I'm just gonna try to say her name, but
Yeah, no, that was me.
is she with a certain organization?
She's a teacher.
Okay.
District.
So how Family Crisis Center office in Longview? Do they have a local person?
I don't know that. We can look though.
Their office, well, from United Way, we deal with somebody
Mhm.
at,
In Longview.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't think we have a local number.
Okay.
I think you're right.
That's you.
I
We
think-
do, don't we?
No, I think you're right. I think they're in
it's local
Lufkin.
contact.
I'm just gonna make a note. is there anybody else that y'all think goes in this category? And I clarified with DTJ, cause as we kind of go on, they had one of the groups said local visitors. And I was like, do you want a list of local visitors? And they're like, no, we want a list of people who deal with local visitors. So whether it's the Chamber of Commerce, the CVB, things like that. So we're not looking for anybody's name that would be lower income or renters, but anybody, any organization that kind of deals with that group.
GW, this might be a place where we wanted to reach out to Concerned Black Man. That would be a good connection because they're gonna have connections in that.
Yes.
Need.
Yeah, we have, GW said, cause some of these groups are gonna fit in multiple sections. So like we have Concerned Black Men, they're just on a different section.
Perfect.
So we
Now,
can
will
have,
Love Inc. fit there? Or do you
they
know?
might, we can put them there as well. I think there's somewhere else on the
Or
list
do
too,
you
but we
have
can,
them somewhere?
I think we do, but I will double check and I can go add that in there.
Glory Gang too. Maybe for that.
Glory Gang,
That's true.
Do you have a contact for them?
Jimmy Mize.
Jimmy or
he's a
Ed.
guy here in town.
And I never heard of them.
either Jimmy or that pastor of that church, what's his
I
name?
can't remember, but I got Jimmy.
Never heard of the guy. Is there anybody else that might go in there? And of course, like I said, if y'all think of somebody in 2 hours or 2 days, send it to me.
Solid Foundation would go.
Okay.
I was thinking the same.
Social
Solid
worker.
Foundation would go.
Yes.
No,
They're in
he
there.
asserted.
John Canning. Solid.
This is
John Canning's,
Who was that for Solid?
John Canning's, the
John-
Solid
That's what I
Foundation.
like.
But I think Love Inc. would go there, Patty Goodman.
Lovely.
Loving.
Also Jessica, NISD social workers.
Do you have a hope on there?
Ooh, I have a contact.
They are under the,
Okay.
yes,
Katie?
Can get John Canning's number.
Katie.
what's Katie's last name?
Mungia, Munguia.
Do you have a phone number for that?
I think I usually get her on Facebook.
Let me grab it. I put her elsewhere on there too, actually, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah, she's on there.
Okay, she's on there.
Yeah, I don't have her.
And Greg, you said you had John Katie's?
Jessica,
96,
even United Way.
615.
All we do.
3677.
United Way is on there under another section.
We got it somewhere.
Yeah, I know they're on there.
And we do have several sections, so I'll keep it.
Yes, it's, yeah, and some of these we wanted to fill in, because there is, especially like public schools, we have a lot of people listed that I don't know if they're like leading departments or if they're individual teachers. Some of those we just needed to clarify. And if y'all think of people under these sections afterwards, you can email it to me as well. Is there anybody else on this one before Miles makes me move on? All right. So higher income / property owners. These have contacts. Is Vicky Boatman a realtor? Anybody know her?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. She a retired teacher, you know, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna put a question mark, not because I'm questionable about her, I'm just gonna figure out if she's associated with.
But I think she retired. She did a good job there.
Yeah.
Can y'all think of anything else to go under this?
What is that? It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and some of these,
I mean, Central Appraisal District for the flipping ants. I mean, I don't
you
understand.
do that one. Cause I actually don't think they're on here anywhere. That's not how you spell appraisal, but I'll go back to it. I know some type, oh gosh, you
I would
can't.
think there are some homeowner associations, don't, like Ashbury Court, don't they have a homeowner association, or? I know out at the lake, there's that's the east side has a homeowners association, they have officers and things.
Okay, we can look into those.
Ted Morgan.
What's his name?
Okay.
Looking for downtown stuff?
Yeah, it says current historic zoning. You know what I mean?
This one was put in by somebody else,
Oh,
by,
okay.
yeah, somebody else, because this sheet is also being used by the comp plan committee, so we can do this whole thing together, so this one is written either by somebody on this committee or on the other
So
committee.
these are not just.
No, the only thing that Civic Brand put on here is the blue squares, and those gave us our categories, so everything else is populated by committee members. So I'm assuming somebody from the comp plan committee put that on there maybe, either that or city staff. Okay, so homeowner associations, anybody else that goes there offhand? I know that some of the categories are not the most
Well, who's the guy that's his office down here in the OTPNL building? He manages lots of property. I don't know how much he owns, you know who I'm talking about. He's
King.
from Cushing,
Tommy King.
Tommy King. If he doesn't own it, he manages it.
And what is he managing?
90% of the rent houses in town.
Okay.
And he owns 80% of them.
Do what?
He manages 90% of them and owns 80% probably.
That's right.
Okay, we'll find the information.
I've got it.
And then, special needs category.
So you can put my name under the Mayor's Committee one.
And I'll put your phone number on there later. Is there anybody else that works within groups like this?
What's the housing, yes, Independence Center.
Independence Manor.
What about the
Oh,
senior?
senior center.
What about the senior, yeah, senior
well,
citizen center? It's a big mouthful.
I can't think of that guy's
I think we have
name.
senior center
What's his
put
name?
somewhere else, but I'll double check.
We do food up there.
Yeah, what's his name? I just blanked on it.
Oh,
I can find it.
At Independence Manor.
What about the, helping?
Yeah, when he's up there.
Oh, yeah,
talking.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I'll put him.
If we can't find, the other person who runs Independence Manor, Wanda Connect is on that board.
Right, she's on that board.
We'll probably find.
Didn't see you.
Yes, okay.
For the helping house, her last name is Johnson.
Yeah, Amanda.
Senior center is Tammy Bonnie.
And some of these, senior center, we can find the phone number, we just need to know who to talk to, so they're not just cold calling some of these places.
Right.
Is there anybody else we can think of that goes under?
You can call all these people and tell them Betty Shin said call.
Yes.
Okay, what I need to
I'm
do.
gonna say Betty Shin told me to call and gave me your phone number, and they're gonna hop to it.
My name's already on every bathroom wall, don't give it to me.
Good. Alright, so let's go for non-English speakers at home.
Non-English speakers at home.
So they're looking for people, and groups that deal with families that maybe their children are the only ones that speak English in their house, and they're trying to get information home from school or from work or something like that.
Nettie Marshall, social workers.
And I think there's a Hispanic soccer league, and that would be a great set of contacts probably.
Catholic Church.
Do what?
It's Ponderosa's the name.
James Montoya, correct?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. She does that, doesn't she?
You said James Montoya?
It would be.
Yeah,
James.
I've been dating his wife too.
Sure, if you have it.
Well,
Oh, well,
Yeah, and there's somebody else that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, she's been honored by that AEW. Yes, one of the years.
He's 936-615-7479.
And I've got
The
his
next
email.
week, the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, he's on the comp plan. Hold on, there's Spanish minister at First Baptist. I have his name in my email, so I find him. And then Caleb Castro. Caleb at fbcnac.org. Evelyn.
Yeah. I know, and that's what I was gonna go plug in some of y'all, kind of where you fit on here as well,
Oh.
since you're also resources. So some of the community members, I was like, I'll go plug them back in, but I'll put Evelyn on here as well and put her information.
Larissa where's Larissa? There she is. The meetings that we were having for Hispanic, you have a list of presenters
Yep,
who
I
included
actually,
some bank, yeah.
I actually just texted Greg, Juan Gonzalez at your South Street branch.
Juan and who was that there?
I'll ask Kristen.
Who was always there speaking?
Move on.
He's gonna keep yelling at me.
oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on
And I
the
can-
names. Ruben
No, I know, I
Cremona.
know.
Ruben,
Yeah, and I can get Larissa's list and put that in
Yeah,
here.
we'll send that to you.
Miles just hollered at me.
She's moved on to the next. She's got one.
So public schools, so we have Monica Starkvik. We know, anybody know who she is?
Counselor.
Counselor.
Just scrolling on with this. Sorry.
Bethany, are you lost on that
I
thing?
am.
So Bethany is running this one and I'm editing on
Yeah.
this one.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, sorry.
Where's one?
We needed y'all to be able to see it, but me to be able to
It's in
sit
the
here.
second column. Okay, that helps, thank you.
So which column are we on right now?
Public
We're on
schools.
here.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, Bethany.
I found this, I'm sorry.
Student column.
Yeah, so we're on public schools, so Joyce
public
Garcia, do we know? Mario, I should have just.
ESL teacher.
Okay.
Okay, just put GWL on all that.
Maria Marquez?
ESL admin assistant, district support center.
Are you at middle school?
She would have your 2,000 names of your Hispanic families.
We know him.
Parent
What about,
specialist, NAC ISD.
for who?
NAC ISD, parent support specialist.
On Carmen?
I'm Carmen.
Mario's the winner today.
Oh, they've got, Dave down there.
Okay, Erin Wyndham, I've got her, she's on my Main Street board. About Heather Stidham,
She's the curriculum assistant principal at Mike Moses.
and y'all like ignore my spelling mistakes, I'm gonna go back and fix it, I promise. Natasha Sandel,
Nurse
Okay.
at Moses.
that is, want to start? Is that person up there too? Yeah, we've got her listed twice, let's see. What about, okay, that was her. I think most of it, what about Leslie Tarvin?
She is a diagnostician with the school district, school psychologist.
And then Anne,
She's an ESL specialist with the school district.
And she offers at TJR.
okay, I think that's everybody. Is there anybody else that needs to go in this public school list? We are gonna add the county schools, just because if you live in the county, you're doing the majority of your business in the city anyway, so we wanna make sure that they're included as well. So we'll go back and add them.
Did you want, well, Katie is a school social worker.
she's on there.
So, okay.
Yeah, she's right, and we have school social worker and swing dance. She does all the things. So anything else y'all can think of? And we'll also upload things like, all of the school board members and trustees and stuff like that, cause we have those lists.
You got Head Start, anybody from Head Start?
Jessica, that email real quick
Are
on
you-
Katie is wrong,
Okay,
because it's with it, her name's spelled with a C.
okay, so
Are you gonna upload all the county schools like that?
yes, we are. Is that right? Katie? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And Head Start we have in a different spot, so we got them.
she's the diagnostician.
Is everybody good with this one for now?
She works.
University. I think the majority of these people,
And the rule, so.
Paul Sandel, I know that guy. Holly Smith, do we know who she is? Who she's with? Dr. Holly Smith?
She's
What is she doing?
SFA
Like
student.
student activities,
Student
maybe,
activities,
yeah, she was
that's-
with the cheerleaders recently when they competed and
Student student life fair.
student affairs, yeah.
We can find her then. Hey, is there anybody else that, yeah, you're just gonna stare at mine, that's fine.
Yours now.
That's why I put y'all cheap seats, sorry. Is there anybody else we can think of we need to put at SFA? We have things like the Alumni Association, we can enter their regents as well, so, cause some of those lists we didn't put on here, cause I can email them a list of regents.
Are they already asking for like student?
It was kind of student groups, I mean, if they said some universities have like a professor's organization where all the professors get, I don't know if it's like all the history professors get together and drink. But yeah, so this could be student organizations, it could be,
I'm not seeing student organizations on there, it looks like just SFA staff positions that might have contacts with student organizations.
and I think that's just what our committee members put on there, so if there's student organizations and you have contact that is a student, we can put that on here as well.
We could look at the Panhellenic and IFC, those are, elected by students to represent those two groups. I'm the president of each of those two groups.
That's not how you spell Panhellenic, I don't know.
P-A-N-H-E-L-L-E-N-S.
Wait.
He's at IFC president.
Crystal, spell it again.
P-A-N-H-E-L-L-E-N-S.
There we go. Can't spell Panhellenic, say my life. Is there anybody else?
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Orientation.
And I'll add SAA in there, because we have their contact. I just wondered. Any other groups that we need to put on there, even if we don't have the contact for them offhand?
And this will still be open, we can still,
Yes.
when you get home, if you think of something and we missed it, you can still go back and add it, it populates everybody's.
Alright, let's move on to charter and private schools. We have Christ Episcopal, SFA Charter School, Regents Academy, Tinywood Area, Learners Homeschool Association. Is there any other school associations y'all can think of?
The headmaster at Regents is Preston Atwood.
I'm a contact for the Nacogdoches homeschoolers group, for the NAC homeschoolers group.
Fernie Hill and Episcopal
You don't have the Episcopal still up there.
We have the Methodist School for Little Children.
The Episcopal still. That's it.
Actually, there's a Catholic private school in
So there's a Catholic one as
there. I
well?
forget the name of it.
I remember seeing that.
Yes. The Episcopal school.
The Episcopal school's already up there.
Oh, okay. And some of these I'll go in and delete. Oh yeah, it is over there already.
Is Catherine the contact there?
Yes.
Catherine Oliver. Okay. And so then we're gonna go up to the next column.
Fredonia Hill.
Fredonia Hill's on there. And then some of these, like the next one is renters. Are there any rental association groups in town, like, that y'all know of?
Miles, what's that lady with the chamber that takes care of, is she the apartment complex? What is
Is
her
it
name?
Darla?
What?
No, that's not her.
I see her, I can't think.
Mary?
Mary, Monica. I think she's over apartments association.
Oh, Mafia.
That's-
Yeah, MOC.
Is that what she's over out there?
See.
I think yours is right, NIAK, I think it's right.
Well, fine. I know her. Her email's in mine too.
I think she's over some association of renters, I don't,
Okay.
maybe apartments, I don't know.
Property owners, we had a good number of those. Are there any veterans associations? We have SFA Veterans Resource, Vietnam Veterans Group, and then we have Victor Galan was listed by himself. Is there any other veterans associations?
This is not a direct correlation, but the Masonic Lodge is hefty in veterans, and they might be a good contact.
Now, who was that guy that spoke at
What
the,
about the VFW?
the guy that spoke at the Vietnam celebration the other day with veterans? What was his name, Robert? Do you remember? I don't remember his name. He has an office at the courthouse, I think. I can't remember his name.
Jessica's the Veteran Affairs with the county, is what she's referring to.
Veteran Affairs of the county.
Yeah, that's the guy down at Courthouse Drive.
You know, Sydney
I just can't remember his
on
name.
Oxman, works with a lot of veterans in her work.
PAB.
Huh?
PAB, is that, no, no.
That's on Applebee's End, right?
It's DAB.
DAV. My fingers are not going
Do we
fast
need
enough.
the VA hospital on there in Lufkin?
We can. Cause they may have contacts with people that are inactive, which isn't use their
Right.
service.
Many of you are too young to remember this, but as I'm watching her type and I'm looking over her shoulder, I'm having a flashback to typing class when you had the time. This is not good.
You know, I
Yeah.
came in right under that where I still took typing class too. I'm real good at it.
I still took typing class. I took typing.
Um,
I took it twice.
did you fail it
Took
too?
it twice.
No, I
Let's see.
quit once.
Bethany, I'm gonna skip over some. Let me pull it up. Yeah, we're gonna do art alliances and councils, cause some of these were like, city department heads I needed a list of and SFA contacts, so some of the columns y'all don't have to look at as much and we don't need as much help with. But art councils and alliances, right now we have the Falling Star Art Gallery, Cole Arts Center, Firehouse NAC, SFA Fine Arts Department, Lamplight Theater, SFA Friends of Visual Arts, CC Con, who's on our Main Street board, Natchitoches Arts Collaborative, Aloma Marquise, I'm not sure who she is.
Retired art teacher.
Okay. Perfect.
You know, we might put Buddy Himes, who's the retired Dean Emeritus of Fine Arts at SFA.
They're up at, yes, they're up at the top. I don't have no, we do have a contact for them, I just haven't put it in here.
There's a board, no, it's the SFA Friends, okay, never mind.
CC
It's
is
on there.
on the Natchitoches Arts Collaborative too. And Ari. His last name. He's also on that board, on the arts collaborative board.
Tucker, right?
Tucker, yes.
Yeah, I know he's,
Oh, with this still?
Lanky.
yeah, he's listed somewhere else as well.
Okay.
So we have him on there. Buddy Himes. And then on campus and school art clubs, we have SFA, or NISD Fine Arts, Angela from the SFA Theater Department. Are there any other campus or NISD or any other schools that y'all know of that have big art departments or theater departments or anything like that?
Is there another section for music?
No, I think we just put all that under arts and then maybe they'll section it out.
Music is there.
Yeah, so we can add that under arts as well. I put lamplight, cause I'm like, that's art, it's theater. Yeah, so if there's arts, or if there's music contacts, then yes.
I have a bunch of those too.
You know, you
Okay.
might put Dana down at Encore Music because in terms of local artists that are trying to make it, he would be a person involved there probably.
Is it Dana and Encore?
Yeah, Encore Music,
And it's,
yeah, Dana Woods.
Going back to your artist, Gary Parker.
Oh.
He's been around, worked with everybody. Decades.
Yeah, and I've got his contact information on. Anybody else on the arts?
I mean, you can put me down.
Oh,
For
Brandy, I'll
music.
go, I'm gonna add you all over this sheet.
T.R. Finchie.
Oh, okay. Well, now I can't get back over to it because I moved.
I know there's.
Yeah, I've gotta go back to where I was.
We also have
Yeah.
a studio downtown, Johnny Ray's music studio downtown.
No, art professor.
I would definitely.
Custodian assistant.
You,
Starts with an A, she's Hispanic.
You have Jimmy Berger on there. He's worked on us.
Put Jeffy on there. He's also on our parks board.
Can we
But-
put in there?
This is kind of a weird one, but I think put red suspenders. That's the group that does the, what do you call that kind of? The timber frame stuff, it's really more art than it is anything, and
Yeah.
I'm not having a name.
Tim Show.
Did you put
Thank you,
John, you
Tim.
wrote down?
No, but I will.
And I got another part.
Johnny Ray, and he's, does music lessons and stuff?
Yeah, he gives music, he gives a studio just down the street.
I'll put him, I have his contact information.
I have it somewhere too.
And if I
It's in
can't,
my pal list of contacts and not in my phone.
what was the one you said right before red suspenders?
Euro beaches.
There we go.
It's Bill Pinchy.
FEN.
See ya.
C. Oh, okay. Try to put an H in there and it doesn't go.
Tyson Davis down there.
Oh, yes.
Contact him.
I have his,
Oh, do you?
Yeah, he's done that. Amelia, do you have somebody?
Yeah, Arely, A-R-E-L-Y, Morales. She's an artist and SFA art professor. I don't have her contact information, but she has a website.
Okay.
I'm sure it's www.arely.
Where do you spell it?
Yeah, that's right, her name, arelymorales.com.
and Tyson's phone number, you want it?
I think I have it. No, yeah, you can go ahead and give it to me.
832-277-5336.
Anybody else before I move us on? That one got real fun. All right, anybody for religious organizations? Right now we have African American Ministerial Alliance, and then the Nacogdoches Ministerial Alliance. I think that's all we have for religious organizations.
I mean, they can look at the phone book and find all the churches and all the student religious organizations.
Yes.
We don't need to make a list of them right
No,
now.
not every single church or anything like that. I just didn't know if there's any other organizations, like our ministerial alliances.
The Nacogdoches, Mission Nac,
They are listed in a different one, but yes, we have them. Okay, so we also have History and Heritage, which I've populated a lot of those, but if we have anything to add, we can. We have things like the Mexican Consulate, African American Heritage Project, Cum Concilio Club, SFA History Department, DAR, DRT, all of our heritage groups, Nat County Historical Commission, Nat County Historic Foundation, Friends of Historic Nacogdoches, East Texas Archaeological Society. We are not lacking in the history world.
you get Taylor Miller or Miller's Crossing.
Yes, Miller's Cross. We have a list of museums that I sent over as well. So yeah, that history one, we're pretty good, unless y'all see any glaring holes or anything. So then senior citizens with, so poverty and hunger, we have Glory Gang, NAC Fridge, which I don't know who they are with.
That's a, young woman named Susan Roberts has had the idea, she's done some research and she's kind of just doing it on her own.
Okay,
And she's not all set up yet, but she's gonna see if she can make it work.
okay. Do you have a contact for her that you can, and that, you don't have to do it right now? Okay, perfect.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hope would go there too, probably,
Yes.
and, what's the Laura Culpepper?
Session next week.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at the top.
Village
Oh,
Nac.
it's at the top, yeah, Village Nat, I think Village Nat we have under mental health, maybe, but we do have Village Nat, yeah.
You got gut feeling?
I don't know if we have it or not, I'll add it though. GW Manor,
See you at the next meeting.
Okay, driving around town.
GW ever walked out and did cut that, just like the end of the world.
is there anyone else under the poverty and hunger programs? Alright. So what about,
I'm sure we have United Way and Garrett elsewhere.
yes, they are under, I believe United Way is under third-party nonprofit / event groups. And we can actually skip over to that, Beth, under partner agencies in that column. So we have the Chamber of Commerce, Nacogdoches Rotary, United Way, Nacogdoches Farmers Market, Kiwanis Club, Humane Society, Friends of the Public Library, Parks Advocacy League. We have a few that say SFA, Charlotte Ashcraft, SFA, Erica Toller, John Callahan, Business.
There are 2 Rotary clubs too.
Oh yeah, there's Tuesday and Wednesday.
Fredonia and Nacogdoches River.
Fredonia, Albert Weatherly. You could contact. I can pull up his email.
Or Lily Food. Serves on planning and zoning.
A Weatherly at sbcpolitical.net. PHOU, is Lily.
You said it's PHU?
PHOU. A Weatherly at sbcpolitical.net.
That one? Is there anybody else under, and the third party nonprofit, I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a million of these.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody just glaring that I'm missing, we can add right now, or if y'all just kind of think on those and keep adding that one as well. Cause there's a lot of groups that we deal with in town, which is wonderful. Is there anybody else that we think we need to add? Take a second. Okay. So we'll scroll. Sports organizations, we have a lot on here, everything from pickleball to running clubs to youth associations, whether it's soccer or softball.
You have the bike club?
I believe,
Do we have a bike club?
yes, we do.
Okay.
Nacogdoches Bicycle Club.
That's a different one, that might be the, there's a Hispanic one, and
Okay.
then there's another one. It's called, I think just Nacogdoches Bike Club, I don't know. We look, it's on Facebook.
And we'll see if we need to combine these or not.
I mean, they are separate,
Okay.
but they also work together, so it doesn't. But there are 2 different contacts for it.
Yes, same one, I think we actually have 2 running clubs in town.
I
can't
would
imagine
sure.
having one, that's not a jam. But we have Boys and Girls Club as well, they do the Piney Woods football. Is there anything else?
This one is Nacogdoches Bike Club.
Okay.
I was pretty sure that was right.
Okay, and they're on
And-
Facebook.
The contact, do you need the contact number?
Sure. If I can get this done.
Trey Cartwright. 903-539-1269.
Athletic associations at schools, I have contacts for those. And then I also have a whole section over here, the very last column, I just put anybody else. And so this is, I don't know exactly where they're gonna fit in, cause some of them, you know, we put La Lingua and 21/7, cause these are groups we deal with and they'll probably go under nonprofit, some of them are media outlets, but people we still need to talk to. And so some of these don't necessarily fit in anywhere, I didn't know exactly where to put them, but so this is kind of throwing anything at the wall and we can categorize people later. But is there anybody else?
You have the airport.
I have SFA, Aviators Organization, the airport, since they're a city department, we have them listed on there. If there's another group associated with the airport, we can. Cause I know there's a few different organizations that like office out there or have hangars.
Just that new building that they're gonna, but that's kind of for the school.
That's from HCH Aviation.
Okay.
That's Shannon, he's on there.
Okay. And Shannon goes with SFA.
It's really separate, it's a private public.
Yeah, and we've got Shannon's contact. Is there anybody else y'all can think of?
Under the food and poverty,
Okay,
or the food section, can you add Director of Student Nutrition, NAC ISD, Robin Thacker?
okay, I have Robin's.
You do have her.
Yes. I don't wanna scroll back over right now, I'm gonna lose my spot. But yes, I will add her to food poverty. Okay. Any other ones y'all can think of? And like I said, on Monday or Tuesday, the city staff is gonna go through as well and make sure we have all this stuff filled in. And then tell DTJ like we're at a good starting point. Cause what they're gonna do with this data is when we decide on, we need a focus group, they're gonna look through and say this focus group is looking at housing. So they're gonna bring in people from, historically underutilized areas, renters, people in high income neighborhoods, and kind of get everybody in a room and talk. And so this is just kind of their starting point. This is a living document, so you can go in and add stuff. We are gonna change all of the little Post-its to yellow. And so if you add something on your own after Monday or Tuesday, just pick a different color so we know it's something new that's been added and we can tell them that. But this is just kind of their jumping off point. And if we start this engagement and realize, hey, we haven't talked to XYZ group, then they'll kind of go back and get contacts from them from there. So thank y'all for going through this exhausting exercise with us. I know it's a lot.
There is a parks organization in Garrison.
Okay. We can add that.
I can't remember the name of it, but I will find out for you. And I think it's just maybe Garrison Powell or something like that, because they started a couple years after we did.
Yeah, because they just did a movie in the park not too long ago.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Okay, we'll find one for them as well.
Michelle has all of those contacts, so.
Okay.
Okay, next up is, we talked about a planning library, and so I think Jessica's got some books and a little recognition.
Yes. So, let me pull these up here. I had him sit back here before we arranged all our tables so we could see everything. So thanks to a donor who's in the room. Do you care for her?
Thank you.
So Mr. McNor, former city council and involved, oh my gosh, his glass is broken, an involved citizen, gave a very generous donation for us to build essentially a planning section in our public library. And so what we did is ask DTJ to recommend some planning books, kind of look around to see planning books that were easy to read, were encyclopedias that most people, may not look at, and they recommended quite a few books. With that donation, we were able to buy 2 copies of each book, and we actually have 4 or 6 right now that are still being shipped. These are going to be put in the public library for people to check out. They're all Tactical Urbanism, Walkable Cities, Happy Cities, and they talk all about planning elements that we may not think about, that how we do our sidewalks and how we do our traffic influences how people use our cities and how happy they are here and the overall environment. So these are going to be a really great resource for people if they've never heard of master planning, long-term planning, have no idea what walkability is. They can go check these out, read through them, and maybe have a better understanding of kind of what we're doing here. They're also a resource for y'all. If you have spare time, want to go check them out, read through them, you're more than welcome to. After the comp plan meeting tomorrow, they will be in the library because we're going to show it off to them too. And then throughout this process, if there's other books that you've referenced or you've read and you think are super helpful, we can always add to it. So Mr. Moore gave us a great jumping off point, and then it's up to us to, if we have more resources, we can add to it. So thank you for that.
And I'm sure you've read every one of these, right?
No, only one of them.
Is there a way that when they're put in the library system that there could be a tag for like city planning or something so that somebody doesn't know what they are, they can pull up, it'd be a predefined search or something?
Yes, I believe we can put that in the metadata tags for them.
That would be nice.
So you have even a little special section and say, are you connecting this with the plan that our city's doing and that everyone needs to be involved in it too.
Yeah, and we haven't had them on the shelf yet just because it wasn't a complete collection, but Mercedes and I are working on where we put them, have a little thing above it says this is part of our downtown master plan and comp plan and that sort of thing. So to give them that visual cue that this is what we're talking about.
Right.
So yeah, we can absolutely do that. And y'all are welcome, like I said, after tomorrow's meeting, when we show off the comp plan, they'll be on the library shelves and y'all can check them out if you're interested.
Cool, next thing on the list is a summary report, and guess who gets to talk about that? Jessica.
I'm gonna try to talk through all this. So one of the things that the comprehensive plan group is doing is they're doing a big assessment of the former comp plan, or the current comp plan actually, and kind of looking at what was done, what wasn't done, strengths and weaknesses, things like that. We don't necessarily have a guiding document because our 1974 plan is so much older. We haven't necessarily been following through with everything that it said. We've had a few other studies that, if you remember back to our December meetings, we kind of walked through, what studies we had, what we used, what we didn't use, and what was still relevant. And so the comp plan is doing the same thing and writing a big report on what they did. We're kind of gonna do the same thing with y'all. Essentially what we've been tasked with is writing up a report of what plans we've had, what was done with them, were they used, were they not used, what our committees have done, you know, kind of a summary of each meeting, what we accomplished, what we talked about, and then kind of what our next steps are. So my plan, if everybody's good with it, is to kind of go along those lines, summarize everything we've done, give it to y'all probably 2 weeks before our May meeting, let everybody read through it, make edits, suggestions, things like that. And then in May, we kind of work through this document of here's what we've done, this summary. And then that will be presented back to council at the same time we do the comp plan one to say, here's what we've done thus far and here's what we're doing next. And of course, you know, if there's anything that, you know, if you thought our downtown walking tour was the best ever and it was so helpful and stuff like that, if there's something special that you want us to emphasize, please tell me and I'll put that in there.
And then we're gonna get that to look at before we send it
Yes.
back.
Yes, so my plan is to send it to y'all about a week and a half to 2 weeks before the meeting, so you have a chance to write all over it, tell me it's terrible, tell me I skipped a huge section, anything like that, that's fine, and then in May, we'll kind of go over it again.
I would submit that our best reference source for the existing downtown master plan is that guy right there.
Yes, he is. You don't know him at all, do you? Yeah, so we'll kind of, and a lot of it's just kind of summarizing what we've talked about in these meetings. And so a lot of it's just gonna be me going through the minutes and then trying to even condense them down a little bit more, and just really emphasize anything y'all are proud of that we've done so far, you know, what you were surprised by in some of these old plans, what you were surprised in a good or bad way, and then kind of what our plan is going forward. So if y'all are good with that, I will start writing that up and get it to y'all to edit. Everybody's good with that plan? Okay. I shouldn't necessarily want us to write a report by committee, because I know that's not fun for anybody.
Next thing that we need to talk about is the schedule. You know, we started out, we knew this would take, 12 to 20 months, and because of some things, we kind of had to bump it out, and we took the month off, and now we're getting into summer, and there's, we're gonna have lots of vacations and things of that sort and all. And so, we actually met with the consultants the other day, both committees, and began to look at the dates and see, kind of how we resynchronize those a little bit, and there's kind of some key dates that I'm gonna let Jessica go over with you, and you have in your email also, where you can go and look at these and write them down, but you wanna talk about those a little bit?
Yes, so what DTJ did based on kind of our feedback is give us a schedule that essentially takes us through September. And of course, there'll be some things here and there that get switched around a little bit, but there are some key dates for y'all to write down. So on.
These are gonna email.
Yes, I'll email all this out, and I know, Beth, we go in this. There's a schedule that's very hard to see, and it's very convoluted, but I will email all of these dates out to you as well. But so May 11th is our next steering committee meeting. It's our normally scheduled time. It's at 3:30. We'll be at the Recreation Center again. It'll be fresh and shiny and pretty. And at that May 11th one, we're gonna go over our summary like we talked about. And then we're also gonna train y'all to do some man on the street training. This is one of DTJ's outreach activities they do, where it's essentially they have this meeting in a box. And they tell, they'll train Miles and tell him, here, when you go to Rotary, here's how you present about this. Here's questions you can ask that give us meaningful feedback that we can actually use. Here's all the links to all of our surveys. Here's little cards you can take with you. Here's the website, stuff like that. So essentially, they're gonna train us to be advocates for this plan. So that will happen at our May 11th one. I'm super excited about that one because all of y'all were appointed because you have all these contacts in the community. And there's no better way to get to people than to meet them where they are. So I'm pretty excited about that. So May 11th, we'll have a full meeting, which will be really exciting. June 11th, we have signed up for us to have a booth at the Blueberry Festival. Our plan is to have our steering committee members, y'all and the comp plan, volunteer for slots, to tell people about what we're doing, to hand out. Last year, we handed out these old church fans that had QR codes that took them to a planning website. We were the most popular people in town because it was really hot. And believe it or not, those little fans worked really well. So we're planning on doing something like that again, just because it really, really, really helped, until we ran out of them.
And we'll also at that be able to take input. We got people visiting from our town. What do you like about our town? What do you think's missing from our town? And even community members, this is your chance to tell us something. And just like we're making that exhaustive list, we'll get it from people that maybe don't even live here in the community. This is something that we really like about your town, or this is something we wish we could do in Nacogdoches that we can't, et cetera. So it'll be not just go see what we've been working on, but tell us what you would like to see.
Will this be for just the downtown plan or for the whole thing?
As far as for the Blueberry Festival,
Yeah.
that will be downtown committee members and comp plan committee members.
Sharing the same space.
Yes.
But we will try to schedule everybody to take a little time, and so there's always somebody from both different committees there at any given time. So if somebody comes up and says, you know, your downtown fascinates me, and they would say, oh, well then here, you talk to Miles, you know, or you talk to Ann, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we want to pair it all up. And then you'll notice there's kind of a gap between Blueberry Festival and August. We did that intentionally because we know SFA's gone, a lot of our professors and staff are gone, people are traveling during July, you have a holiday in there. And so we didn't want to do all this outreach when people weren't around, because then you don't actually hear from people. And so we're kind of taking July not off, but not as like an actually scheduled meeting. But in between there, you know, if you have meetings with your Rotary Club or your church, something like that, you can take that meeting in a box and go present it to them, even if not everybody's there. August 10th, DTJ will be meeting with this committee virtually, and they'll be presenting their existing conditions report. And what that's going to be is essentially their strengths and weakness and opportunity report to us. You know, what they've seen either from our feedback, from driving through town, because they've done several visits here, from talking to some people, from looking at Nacogdoches kind of by the numbers as well, you know, how many people own homes, how many people are below the poverty line, you know, how many people actually attend our schools or homeschooling, stuff like that, just kind of what our town looks like in a snapshot. It's not all bad. Some people get very nervous about existing condition reports, but it's also, here's where we have some great opportunities. You know, if we just put utilities in a better way down Commerce Street, you could have this very vibrant alley, things like that. So just kind of what they see, and they're gonna have a discussion with us about, is this accurate? Did we miss something huge? Like, did we not talk about utilities or sidewalks at all, and y'all think that's the biggest thing downtown? So it'll be a discussion with them. And then August 25th and 26th, and then September 26th and 27th are dates that y'all need to pencil in as well. DTJ will be in town August 25th and 26th to do a 2-day comprehensive plan visioning event. And what that is essentially they do interviews with people, they have focus groups, they do a big community event, they do walking tours of certain neighborhoods, they do driving tours. Some of those will be big public events where we invite the general public. Some will be predetermined groups, like if they have a focus group all about housing, they'll bring in all those housing people to talk to each other. And of course, it says on your comprehensive plan visioning, but y'all are invited. You know, you're part of the downtown steering committee, but we still want you to be involved in the comprehensive plan as well. So mark those down. They'll do the same type of thing September 26th and 27th. It'll be a lot of walking tours of downtown. It may be us taking over a vacant building and kind of visioning what could this be, looking at sidewalks, doing some of those focus groups and interviews with people who have vested interest in downtown. And same thing, we'll invite the comp plan group to come with us as well, and then advertise it to the public. And so those are the dates we need to remember for right now. The other thing DTJ has asked from us is we've sent them a list of big events we know of in Nacogdoches that they're gonna kind of look at and figure out which events they should come to and actually be at, whether it's Blueberry Festival, Multicultural Festival, some other big community reunion. So if there's any really important ones y'all can think of that you really think they should be there, please email that to me. We have kind of the list from the CVB's calendar, from Main Street calendar, things like that. But if there's any huge ones that you guys really think they should be there, we can tell them about that. But so those are kind of the meetings that we're gonna be at. And of course, we'll have some training on outreach stuff y'all can do in between those dates. So I know it's a lot of stuff. Is there any questions?
I have a question. So, is the DTJ people, are they gonna be, talking to local people anytime before August?
So they will, it kind of depends on what we tell them. If we say, we think you need to be a Blueberry Festival, because they have, I think in their contract, it's either 2 or 3 big events they come to. And we determine what a big event is. If we say Blueberry Festival is the biggest thing, if we say Multicultural Festival is the most important, or if there's something else, so they could be here before that. We just didn't want to do the bulk of our outreach during the summer when it's a little bit harder to reach people.
And the meeting in the box, and the way I understand it from our meetings of the day, is designed to teach us how when we go to Rotary or wherever and make a presentation about what we're working on, we also take in information, and the information is then shared with them. So even though they physically weren't there, we're their eyes and ears in the collection.
Because I remember when we were first interviewing, the whole thing was all about, making sure we contact everybody and how to do it in Spanish and how to do it remotely and how to have meetings at churches and how to have all these things. And so I just wondered where that's all fitting into the picture. Right?
Yeah.
And that's some of the
That
training.
was a lot of what they talked about, right?
Yeah.
There's a training day when they're going to train us how to do the meeting.
Yeah,
So we're gonna do all that.
we're gonna do some of it and they're gonna do some of it. Because with DTJ, and with any firm, they can't be everywhere all at the same time. So a lot of it, we're gonna determine, is Blueberry Festival the most important, Multicultural Festival, is this other thing over here in town the most important, and those are the ones that they might attend.
And
If it's something where it's your Sunday school class, you can do your meeting in a box with them type thing.
Okay, I just was, there was like all these different plans and all the different ways to make sure they didn't miss anything. Am I remembering this right, that was like a whole lot of what we talked about?
Yeah, and the
With
response
them.
about the Blueberry Festival and the Multicultural Festival or whatever it ends up being is a very specific kind of outreach. But, with them being in
I thought there
person
was gonna
at
be a lot more than that for some reason, is what I'm.
Right.
I got the impression there was gonna be like tons of outreach to everybody all over
To
town.
reach everybody in town.
Yeah, and I will tell you,
Thank you.
yeah, and I will tell you, these are only the
It doesn't
dates.
feel like that to me.
Yeah, these are the hard and fast dates we have
Right,
as of right now. At the very bottom, there's other stuff as far as doing workshops, doing featured questions of the week, doing things at SFA campus. Those dates just haven't been populated yet.
Okay.
Because we're looking at all their calendars, and if there's homecoming, they may be down here for homecoming because everybody's in town. So some of these dates just haven't been populated yet because we're still looking at some of those.
And so how many times will they come and do that?
Oh, I don't have the exact.
Limited by that, by the contract?
The contract, we are limited by that. I don't know the exact number, but I can check.
That's okay.
Yeah, but
The outreach isn't limited to the times that they're physically here. There's a reason why we're putting the contact
That's right.
information
Yes.
for people
Mhm.
there now. So can you
They can call them on
speak a little
phones.
bit?
Yeah, there
To
will
that.
be through email, via phone,
yeah, they're gonna,
social media, all that. There will
Yeah,
be
so a lot of this-
outreach.
absolutely. And we're gonna have a website that'll be up and functioning. We have our Nacogdoches Plans website right now. We'll have a little bit more professionally established one that'll have a question of the week, question of the day. They'll be sending out email surveys to people. They're also gonna have these virtual engagement rooms to where if you couldn't come, or we just saw you at Blueberry Festival and your kids live here, but maybe you're not here full time, you can go on there and kind of virtually participate in some of the things we're doing. Whether it's they pull up a map of downtown and you say, here are the areas that I walk and the sidewalks are bad. Or I think we need more living spaces downtown. So you go on and participate that way. So it won't just be when they're here, they'll be curating other stuff from their offices. So it's not all us having to go, walk the streets and talk to everybody, but there's gonna be a lot of different ways to do it.
It just sounds like it's gonna be a whole lot of time spent with getting input, and this didn't feel like it was a whole lot.
Yeah, and this is just what we have
So
as
this
of,
is, okay.
yeah, that's just what we have on the calendar.
Thank you, I didn't mean
And there's
that.
also, you gotta realize, they're working almost daily with staff. And then Greg and I and the two folks from the comprehensive plan, we've had, 3 or 4 different meetings with them also, even working on the webpage and colors and what's it look like and what do we want on there and how do we attract information. And that's just the beginning, and then we'll get the meetings in the boxes and we'll learn how to both present this information but gather information, and then it'll keep going out like that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
The books we're gonna have here, you can't take them with you, but you can come whet your appetite, and they'll be in the library after tomorrow's meeting, sometime later in the week or the beginning of next week, and you can kind of get your idea. What I would say is if you do check one out, Don't take it for like 6 months.
Are we gonna advertise those in some manner where other people in the community will know they're in the library?
Yes,
Other than the two committees? So the
Yes,
public will know, they go check them out and read them?
yeah, those, we
Okay.
can highlight some of them on the webpage too.
we can highlight on the webpage, we'll do a Facebook push,
Okay.
we'll put it out with our group email list, cause there's been a lot of people that have signed up that they want updates on these plans and committees, so we can put that on there as well.
Well, a lot of people are interested, so that maybe they'll take time.
So guests, since y'all were so kind to sit here and listen the entire time, which I know is thrilling, you got anything? Did we miss anything? You got any input? I mean, we've got several members of the Main Street Board here and students and community members. Anybody got any concerns or thoughts or you got any clarification needed or anything like that? We could almost have a Main Street Board meeting right now. Thank goodness we're not city commissioner, we'd be in trouble.
We put a notice that there may or may not be a quorum, when we're not discussing Main Street matters. It's on my agenda, that's fine.
I have something, I wasn't here last time, so I didn't get to say my iconic moment of that.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, cool.
And I had several, but, the iconic moment occurred last Saturday. Some friends had a memorial service for a friend of ours that passed away from cancer, her name was Connie Core. And it was at the Live Oak listening room, you know, friends come together like you do, and there was some music. But, Connie used to love the jazz festival and good New Orleans music, and there was a few people from the, Sabine River Brass Band there. And so they did a whole second line. They started playing and they walked out the door and the whole crowd followed behind twirling parasols, swinging handkerchiefs, dancing, and went all the way around the block and ended up at the brewery. It was so nice. It was just wonderful. And I think maybe the first, second line in Nacogdoches that I've seen anyway. And hopefully first of many more. It was great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Well, I promised Jessica that we would get through by 5, and if I look down at my watch, we're actually a little early, so if nobody else has anything, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thanks for coming, everybody, and get these dates on your calendar, and as you now know, Jessica will hammer us all with emails.
So I apologize